What's going on, guys? Dan here, D Speed Shop. Man, this thing looks cool in the background. Today's a bit of a funny one. So obviously we went back to Power Tour for a little bit, had to get right back to the stupid day job, and I promised Danny the first thing I would do when we got back was get her 57 Chevy running. And the last couple of videos have been this thing where kind of tied up some loose ends. It still needs a little bit of wiring. It still needs just kind of put some miles on it and adjustments here and there. But you know what? It's summertime and I love working outside. So this thing, everything we need to do to it can now be done in the driveway. There's no point in it being in the garage because, as you all know, the garage is for wrenching, not for parking. So today what we're gonna do, well, I've been doing, I cleaned up this shop a little bit. There's still a bit of stuff around, don't get me wrong. Far from perfect, but perfect from afar. Today is just gonna be kind of getting everything organized for the upcoming weeks because I got all sorts of ideas, and honestly, I kind of want your guys' thoughts as to what you want to see. This all has to get done. Working on a car is working on a car, so I don't really care. And yeah, viewer's choice. Choose your own adventure. I want to put the seat in the Nomad. I took that out for Power Tour. But anyways, we have an empty bay, so we got to fill that. This Model A, so I brought it home with all the intentions in the world to start working on it. And of course, it has turned into a shelf. Now, this is like a 31 model, 3031 model. It's a bunch of different cars kind of pieced together. I had ugly, I think, chopped it just to kind of make it into something at one point. So I do want to start picking away at this, I think, just for fun. It's got a set of 32 rails. We got a axle over there. We got big and little tires for it. Yeah, there's the axle. There's the front cross member and stuff. We got like spreader bars, all sorts of stuff. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. You know, I don't know if I'm an actual hot rodder through and through, but the idea of having this in the background is kind of turning into a roller. That's what I want to do. So that's coming up. That'll probably just be here and there. But what we're doing today, this other garage is a freaking disaster. So we have this 64 Chevy II Post, 6-cylinder automatic. We were working on this a few weeks ago, and oh, look at all the garbage under it even. This thing I want to work on. So I think what my plan is, this goes there, this goes center, and then we got to clean up this garage. So what happened here, I ended up borrowing parts off of this. I took the tires off for a spare tire. So it's kind of just sitting here. We did most of the body work on it. Well, body work. We fixed the floor pans, the trunk pan. We put a window in it. I have back glass. So there's a little bit of stuff to do. The interior's in it. We got to mount some seats. And actually in front of the Model A, I have all new front end stuff. Control arms, everything. Slap that together, make the lights work. This should be a kind of a quick and easy project to make run and drive. Now, I do have a Turbo 350 with a high stall. I have a T10 4-speed. And I have a 327 solid lifter. And I have fender well headers. Honestly, the whole reason I bought this car is because Chevy II fender well headers have the absolute coolest swoopy shape. That's what we need. Oh, and that's an oil pan for it. A little cutout there for the steering. So whether we go leave it stock with a small block, gas or front end, I don't know what we're gonna do. We got to get her together. I got a bumper for it. I got a fuel tank, all that sort of stuff. Start working on it. Now, this 56 Chevy wagon, this poor car. Oh yeah, we named it. I love this thing. This 56 Chevy wagon, the original plan was this is what we were going to take on Power Tour. And then last minute we decided, no, I got strong arm, we're taking the Nomad. So this car hasn't been on the channel for a while, but it's actually very far along. We took a few steps back before Power Tour, but LS 700R with a 10 bolt, all brand new rebuilt stuff with a low-ish mile LS Terminator X kit in it. Disc brakes, the whole deal. We had the floor pans in it. I did a rust repair, new glass, everything basically works on this thing. Wiring harness. It was like 85% of the way. It needed just a little stuff taken care of. And then, of course, I lost interest. The DD Speed Shop way. Days before we were leaving for Power Tour, I noticed the rear springs of the Nomad were sacked out. And they actually had a bend in them. So guess what? The back end's up on jack stands, the rear end's hanging, and there's no leaf springs in it. So we have to do that. So we got the battery charging. I kept the old leaf rings from the Nomad. We're going to put them in this just to make it a roller. Obviously I have to order something, but so be it. It will drive around. And honestly, it sat fine, but the Nomad sat cockeyed, and the one leaf was bent, so the shackle was all the way back into the perch. So, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. It's, we got to order a new set, but those ones, obviously, new bushings to them, so should slide in easy. Put the U-bolts on. I mean, we're not going to, you know, Loctite this thing, just zing it all together with the impact, put wheels and tires on it, and check fluids, but should run and drive. Back this thing out, drive it over there, plunk it right there, put that car in the street, and then we can start cleaning this garage. So that's kind of the plan for the day. We'll go over the Nova. I think we'll also take a walk in the backyard. We'll take a look at that 47 Chev. A lot of people want to see that, so that's on the list of to-dos. So there you go. It was a Thrasher power tour. I appreciate you guys hanging on. I know we kind of blew the budget and blew the time and blew all sorts of stuff like that. And now we're getting back to the El Cheapo stuff. Danny's car is a, you know, junkyard small block stuff I had lying around. This thing is obviously whatever. Same with this and that 47 Chev. There ain't much to that thing either. But we get a few cars on the road, kind of enjoy them, get some different cars going. We're already almost into July, or we are into July, I guess, by the time this video comes out. And it's time to kind of get on it. I'm excited for it. That's the way she goes. So, buckle up. I'm going to get... Oh, we also have a bunch of junk in the front here. People are asking why tow truck. So a few weeks ago, someone tried to steal the tow truck. It's at the body shop getting stuff done. Of course, it's hurry up and wait. No one has the same level of let's make it happen as I do, it feels like. So all this pile, toolbox stuff, all that was all in the wrecker, and I didn't want it just sitting there in some miscellaneous body shop or insurance yard, because people will take, oh, whatever, a couple $1,000s for the tools and stuff. Oh, and this 12-bolt Chevy here, I'm thinking I might put that in my black car. Black 57 with the LS. So there's a lot of projects there. If you guys want to just let me know what to do there, that'd be great. But step one is start cleaning, because man, this power tour, I'm not a clean guy to start, and power tour, the crunch time, it got to me. So I'm excited to just kind of enjoy today, clean up a little bit, have some sandwiches, real sandwiches, not Morsky sandwiches, and yeah, work on some hot rods. Let's get after it. Well, there we have it. Just like that, just down the ground. Some suspension. I didn't put all the bushings in. I just put a couple, and the bolts that go through the eyelet of the spring, they're supposed to be like 1/2 inch or 7/16 maybe, and I just put in 3/8 bolts, just so it's easy, and they're just sitting in there. There's no hardware on them, so I wouldn't recommend driving it too far, but from one garage to the other, I think we'll be okay. Now let's see if we can get this clunker fired up and run it around the block. Battery's connected. I don't even know if this thing has any gears, because I haven't driven it. Danny must know. She's a genius. So, oh, the seat, hang on. I had to move the seat back. Actually, so we put these seats in, and they're tall and all that, but they're not the best for me, I will say. Ooh. She may need a little carburetor work. I'll let this thing warm up for a minute. Put it on the street. Boom, just like that. On the street, drove good. Got a couple rattles. I think what it actually is the hood. I don't have the hood pins tight enough, so we'll have to adjust that a little. Let's go with that wagon.
Are you still using only one battery between all the cars?
Not between all the cars, but between a few of the cars. And this is one of the few.
Can we not afford a battery for each car?
No, we're still paying on a power tour.
Fair enough.
I'm not rich. I need some transmission. Alright, well, see if this thing will fire up. It's got no charging system, it had no battery in it, and generally the Holly doesn't like that. We'll see. Cycle the pump a few times. I'm a little quick on the trigger. Alright, here we go. Come on, old girl. Not bad.
What happened to that bumper? What happened here?
Oh. I'll put the microphone on, then we'll explain this car. In case you're new here. So, Danny just told me, schooled me on when we got this thing. Anyways, so we had this thing, I guess, in 20 or 21, something like that. So it's been on and off the channel a bunch. So originally our plan was to do power tour in Danny's 57 Chevy. Then we couldn't cross the border because of COVID and all that sort of stuff. And then this came up. So long story short, I wasn't even looking for this car. I'm not a big 56 Chevy guy, but it is what it is. A guy had a set of Tri-5 headers for sale, small block Chevy. And he was out of town, so we met him halfway. And we started talking this and that, bought the headers. And he goes, well, I got some Tri-5 Chevys. I'm like, oh, what do you got? This and that. Well, next thing you know, we drove out and I bought this thing. It was just $1,000 or something like that, $1,500. It was very cheap for what it was. That was a few years ago before the prices have really gone crazy, but still, I was happy with the deal. 56, 4-door, 210 wagon. It is what it is. Well, we got it. Windshield was smashed out of it. There's no rockers, no floors. I welded. This is actually 57 panels, bottom of the fenders. I kind of think that's it. A different hood I put on. The other one was all mangled up and stuff. It's real rough, but it's very original. So every panel kind of has a dent and stuff in it. The quarter's all wobbly. It's got a proper wagon bumper, which is kind of nice. So the plate's on the bumper versus, Tri-5's typically on the deck lid. It's rough. It's really, really rough. We cleaned it up. We patina sauced this thing from Vice Grip, the Shine Juice. It was mint. And then, of course, it sat around. So I originally put it together, and I was like, oh, let's take it on a power tour. So the idea was I had a big block Chevy. So we had a big block tunnel ram, bird catcher, and I had a 700R built for it, which I knew was not the best transmission, but it'd be fine. And we were going to take that. Still couldn't go on power tour, obviously, because the border was closed forever. So it kind of got pushed in the background a little bit. And then I pulled the motor out and I put it in my Nova that Danny learned how to drive on. So I had a big block 4-speed Nova because I thought that was cool. I think it sat without a motor for a while. And then it had a small block in it, which is now in Danny's car. We like to do a little musical motors around here. And then again, it kind of sat, and I was like, you know, we should take this thing on power tour because we can now travel. I was like, perfect, let's get it. Well, in the meantime of having this wagon, the stupid Nomad came up. And then I really was conflicted because, I mean, if you walk out and you have a 4-door, you know, 56 Chevy wagon, which is cool, or even Nomad right beside it, what keys are you gonna grab? Obviously, for me, it's the Nomad. So we did that, we kind of made it happen. And then, again, it sat and sat and sat, and then I was like, you know what, we'll do something with it. So this is a relatively low buck car. The only money I really spent on this directly was I bought a Holley Terminator. So we bought, like I said, the car was $1,500, put a floor pan in it for $1,000, some rockers. We recovered the front seat. Again, TCS hooked us up as per usual. And I don't even know what I did on the front end. Oh, it's all, yeah, this hood might need a little adjustment. The front end is bone stock stuff. I didn't do tubular control arms, so I just put obviously ball joints and bushings in, and that was it. This is a 6-liter LS, so I got addicted to auctions last year, and we bought a 2004, 5, 6 Chevy 3/4 ton. I think it was $900 or something like that for the truck, or maybe even less. And so we bought the motor. We parted out the car, sold a bunch of stuff off it, ended it basically for free. There was $0 in it. I then put a Holley pan on it, so that was an expense, a set of headers, and the Holley Terminator operating system. Cheap aluminum radiator, and that's kind of it. So I don't think this thing has, as it sits, $5,000 in it, and it's pretty cool. So I don't know what the real plan is yet for it, other than it just keeps sitting around, and it's so close to being like legitimately roadworthy. I mean, obviously it does drive, has the transmission. The transmission leaks, I don't know where from. The motor does its thing. It's got no charge system on it. Like I started putting it together and lost interest. It's got disc brakes in the front. In this situation, the motor is definitely kind of overpowering the rest of the situation. It's probably fine, but like I said, it's got a 700R in it, and I got a 10 bolt that I bought out of a Nova, Camaro, whatever it may be. They fit in tri-fives real nice, and I had it rebuilt with 373s in it. It was a positive when I got it, so maybe I got $1,000 on that too. So the idea was to have a pretty bulletproof drive line. It's not meant for doing burnouts for distance or anything like that, but we can cruise it, and ultimately this is like your, you know, mid-90s Chevy truck. It would have had a, you know, 12 bolt, a 700R, and some sort of V8 motor. So it's kind of how I see it. Maybe don't want to pull a house down with it, but should be fine. So as time goes on now, we're starting to realize we really enjoy being in the great United States of America. And it's a far drive. So having a few more cars that would be, you know, kind of road worthy that we could take down there would be kind of neat. I think this might be one of them. Being the LS, we could easily put a compressor on it and make air conditioning, you know, get a vintage air under the hood, all the stuff under there, be LS, easy stuff, and kind of go from there. I want to relocate the battery, I want to touch up the wiring, get all that stuff, kind of just give it a once over nut and bolt check, and we should be able to take it in for inspection kind of, I'd like to say in the next month or so, and actually drive this thing, and I don't know what we're going to do with it. You know, someone can put miles on it, but it's kind of a cool car. Maybe this one will live in the US, we're not really too sure, but right now it's used as storage, which is unfortunate. Oh, and Danny was pointing out what the bumper. So both sides of the bumper and fenders are not so great because I moved it with the Bobcat a couple of times and frustration took over. But inside, the front of it, that's all Nova trim and stuff. And all this fiberglass is for that stupid Sebring kit car. And then we got a windshield for the Nova, and yeah, there you go. So take it all apart, clean it, deal with all this junk, kind of go from there. But we'll go back to cleaning up the other garage now and get the Nova squared away in the center. Go from there. This thing's cool. I dig this thing, but I don't know. Again, another one of those projects that's like 70% done and then lose interest. But I'm kind of excited because now it's like I'm buying it. For the first time, my buddy Josh makes fun of me because he's like a DD Speed Shop. It's I have so many cars that I get to a certain point and then I forget about them. And I bring them home. This kind of scratches the itch of buying a new car because I've had it for so long. But now now I get to work on it again. Danny's pretty impressed with my way of collecting hot rods. All right, other garage it is. Back to the dungeon. Okay. Look at all the space, man. It's crazy when I'm in this garage because this is where we started. Building hot rods out of this little tiny shop. With stuff everywhere. And there's still stuff everywhere. And we got a little car in it and it just feels tiny. But anyway, so 64 Chevy II. So I got this just this spring, actually. Everyone thought I overpaid. There's stuff on the ground there. Please be careful. You're not wearing your safety hardware. Footwear, sorry. But people say I overpaid for this thing, which I might have. But 64 Chevy II Post, which I wanted. I love Post cars. They're so neat. It's very solid. It's the only thing that happens, a lot of the trim was kind of rough, and I got most of it, but it's bent and screwed up and stuff like that. This car was obviously kind of redone maybe in the 90s or something like that. It had some interior work done. It's got a later model straight 6 HEI, but I think all this is just going to be for now to get it running and driving. The reason I love these cars so much is I think they make awesome nose-high gassers, and honestly I just love small block well, I like fender well headers, and these things with a small block with fender well headers essentially is what sold me on this, because they're the coolest looking header. Look at that thing, it's like Medusa. So we got a pair of those, and I got a small block Chevy oil pan with the little cutout in it so it'll fit around the steering. This is basically why you buy a car like this. So this thing, we did 2 trunk patches, were very minor, and it took a passenger side floor patch. I think that's all I did. And people give me attitude that I didn't do the whole floor pan for some reason, but I thought it looked just fine. We treated it, rocker guarded it, put carpet in. People are kind of iffy on these seats, but these are really comfy actually. They're not error correct, but they're really nice. I put a like a ratchet shifter in there because it was a power glide deal, so the linkage didn't work and I didn't want to screw around with it. So there you are. What this thing now needs is a quarter patch on the driver's side, just to lower just a little bit of love, nothing too crazy. A new front end, but I bought a bunch of stuff off Facebook. A guy had upper lower control arms, just like bolt on stuff ready to go. So really we should be able to do that. You know, kind of go through, clean the wiring up, make all the lights work, polish it up, put on some trim, put it through inspection, and again, this one really, it should be at the very least like running and driving fairly reliably in a month or so. By end of July, I'm hoping. I don't know what's gonna need for brakes and all that, so we're fighting that one out. And I ordered rear window rubber. I have the glass for it. I just rope that in, and it's like a car. So I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. $5 grand. People thought I was crazy paying that, but it just didn't need that much work, and $5 grand for an old car just seems like a deal to me. Danny likes this thing. She kind of wants to make it into a race car maybe, and I've been talking about it, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, but Speedway sells, like, this is a front subframe car, so the whole, you know, cradle and all that bolts on. I think it's 4 bolts underneath and 2 bolts up top, and Speedway sells a bolt-on straight axle kit with steering and everything ready to go, and you can just plunk, it's meant for big block, small block Chevy or LS, and then everything just bolts right back on around it, and it's like a weekend gasser. So that'd be kind of cool. I've never actually had a straight axle car, and maybe this is the one to do it. I don't know. We got to decide. But we got a pile of garbage out there, so I got to go through that. Half of that is tools, some of it's tow truck stuff, and then whatever's left is going to the dump today. I'll go through these shelves as well because I want to try and have as clean as we can in here. Now, we're going to end it with the 47 Chev. So I got a 47 Chevy 2-door sedan sitting in the backyard, which I'm sure is probably overgrown like crazy right now. It's going to be nuts back there. People always ask about it. I figured I'd show it, and then if people want to see that, maybe you could comment and convince me that I should work on it again. I've had that car 20 years maybe, close to, and I haven't turned a wheel in probably 10. I'm that guy with old hot rods now, as it turns out. Let's go look at it. It's like this thing is the time forgotten. We gotta mow the grass back here or something. Wow.
You might need to just take this with you.
So, what a thumbnail. This is my 47 Chevrolet, which I swear was running and driving not too long ago. We gotta do a little bush trimming out here. So it's oh man, look at all this. Wow, this poor car. What happened was, it sits here, it's on bags, obviously, it's right on the ground. And stupid Frankie dog likes to run and jump on top so she can bark over the fence at people. Oh man, no air cleaner on it, that was dumb. It's got a small block Chevy in it. It's on a G-body chassis actually, I said it's bagged. This thing did run and drive quite nice. It's actually got a, I think it's like a 350 out of like a 70 Chevy half-ton or something like that with its turbo 350 trans. So it's actually pretty stout and does pretty good. Just bone stock with a set of headers. Interior is kind of minimalist. It's a hot rod. And unfortunately, I feel like it's going to have to come out because it's not going to get any better sitting here. Wow. Wow, wow. Anyways, I'd love to show you more, but it's like an archaeological dig at this point, so feel free to make fun of me in the comments about how I'm treating this car poorly and I don't deserve to have it, because you're not wrong. But maybe once those two cars are done, this should come out and get a good once over. It probably needs the front end gone through and shocks and all that. And I mean, this at one point this thing I had full Flowmasters on it, and a real rowdy motor, and a transmission with a shift kit, and all. And it was kind of pretty stout. And then I decided to bags on it, put a small block, just a stock small block in it, and kind of drive it, cruise it. But that was, I'm gonna say 15 years ago. I don't think, has this thing been on the road since we were together yet? Yeah. Just for a couple of times though, eh? So we've only driven a few times in the last 10 years. So I don't know. It's a cool car. It's probably not worth a whole lot. People ask me to buy it all the time. But once it's gone, it's gone. This should probably go to Mike's or something like that where it can be not this. I got trim back here. Maybe that's what I'll do after I clean the garage up. Anyways, that's a little, oh, let's just have a little seat here. This is the best part of this car. You can sit on the fenders. There you go. So that's what we got in these garages right now, and that's what could possibly be coming up. Get those two done. Maybe this will come in. I would like to do a little bit of work on my 55 2-lane blacktop 2-door sedan car. I've had that for years, and again, it just needs a little bit of love. Everything needs a little bit of love. If you don't drive them regularly, they fall into disrepair. So we'll get those going. I think that's the plan for the summer, and then before you know it's gonna be fall, and that's when the big projects come out. So maybe Camaros, we got that working on, and I'm sure I'll buy something else between now and then, or a few things. But thank you very much for watching. Make sure you comment below, let me know what you guys want to see. Choose your own adventure. Subscribe to the channel, tell a friend, and we'll be back at it in a couple of days working on one of those two cars you saw today.